let me just do this and see what happens. And so I spent all of 2020 learning TikTok while everybody was fighting about everything else in the world. And then I had videos that went viral. And then I said, put down the agency, focus on TikTok and video, and everything exploded.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited you're here today because I have brought you an incredible guest. Keenya Kelly, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, me too, me too. We're talking video marketing, we're talking TikTok. You are a social media strategist, vertical video, all the things. You have a bazillion followers, right? Or like
And growing. Oh, man.
500,000 plus, right? 10
Yeah.
million likes. Holy moly. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you stepped into becoming an expert at video marketing, specifically TikTok as well, and how you help other creators grow their businesses.
Yeah, so it's interesting. My background is actually sales. So I've been in
Okay.
sales my whole life. I got my start in network marketing back in 2002. Yeah, so I was in a company called Prepaid Legal, but it's called Legal Shield now.
That's where I
Uh,
started too.
oh,
Did we
when?
did not talk about this before we clicked to
No, we
record.
did not. When were you
That is
in?
hysterical. I'm still a prepaid legal subscriber.
Remember?
It's a great
Yeah.
service.
When did you join the company? When were you in the company? Or when were you
Oh, I
like,
can't even tell you. I don't
oh,
remember. I have no idea. But that was where I learned the business model,
oh
really,
yeah.
is like before I really launched into it, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I see how this all works. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Mhm.
continue.
Yeah, actually, there's a picture behind me right here. I was speaking at the national convention in 2003. I had 12,000 people and got a standing ovation. It was crazy.
Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah, yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
I
I'll never
wonder,
forget that moment.
I went to their national convention. I'm gonna have to go look and see what year it was. How cool if we would have been there at the same time.
That'd be so funny if we were. But that's how I got my start. I
Yeah.
learned how to be a presenter. I learned how to sell. I learned how to grow as a person. And
Yeah.
I didn't really get into the what I'm doing now until 2016. But I had new entrepreneurship because once you're in network marketing for an extended period of time, you just know too much. You've experienced too much.
Yeah.
And so my first business I actually had was a hair care business. I used to do conventions, I would rent convention centers and like host trade shows.
Yeah.
But in 2016, I started seeing people on live stream. There was an app called Periscope, and they were making money selling themselves as a service. And I was like, I don't understand, but I don't need to understand. I'm gonna get on here and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of started creating, and eventually I started doing consulting, and I built a design agency. And at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we knew something was happening in the world. We just didn't know what was happening.
Mhm.
And I'm somebody who prays, and I'm always praying God for creative ideas and strategies. And I heard him tell me, get onto TikTok. And nobody was talking about TikTok. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. But because I was used to getting all of my creative ideas from God, I was like, let me just do this and see what happens. And so I spent all of 2020 learning TikTok while everybody was fighting about everything else in the world. And then I had videos that went viral. And then I said, put down the agency, focus on TikTok and video, and everything exploded.
Oh my goodness. What a journey to
Yeah.
get to where you are now.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have to ask the $1 million question that I'm sure every news channel and everyone's asked, like TikTok, it's here to stay. Is
Yeah.
it we got to be there? Like it's not going anywhere at this point?
Yeah, no. So even in when everything was going down, I think President Trump was in office at the time and he was talking about banning TikTok. And then when Biden got in office, they were talking about banning TikTok. And I kept being like, what something's going on here? And I'm like, oh, this is not national security, this is business because TikTok was costing Amazon money, Google money, Meta money, because everybody was running a TikTok. And so I said, there's got to be some kind of deal that gets made. And when I saw President Trump and the owner of TikTok say we're friends, we're going to figure this out, I said, okay, TikTok's going to figure out a way to give America money. And so right now it looks like a deal has been made between some American companies and TikTok, and they've
Okay.
been waiting on the issue with Trump and China and all their tariff issues to be resolved, and then they'll sign off on the deal. So Trump, he made a statement recently. He said that if the deal is not finalized, he'll extend it again because the deal is going to happen because America's going to make a lot of money. So Americans
Yeah.
need to be on TikTok right now before they make the big
Yeah.
announcement.
That is okay. That is more information than I had any idea about of just kind of the behind the scenes because
Yeah.
I feel like the conversation, the hallway conversation or virtual Zoom conversations is like, oh, I don't know if I should get started on TikTok because isn't that
Mhm.
going away? Like I feel like we hear that a lot. Like, should
Yeah,
I
a
really go
lot.
invest in learning a new platform or should I, show up in this way when maybe it's not sticking around, but
Mhm.
I hear you on it. So we need to be there and we need to
Oh
be
yeah.
there like yesterday.
Like
Um,
yesterday.
so tell us a little bit about how TikTok maybe is different than other platforms or how the algorithm is serving people on TikTok versus other places. Because I mean, I'm right there in the camp of a little bit of a love-hate relationship with social
Yeah.
media. Like I love it when it's working for me. I hate it when I feel like I'm spending a lot of time creating content and not seeing the
Yeah.
results from it. So how do you see TikTok kind of playing into all the other social channels that are out there?
Yeah. So the first thing I always tell everybody is you got to take a look at what has happened. And so if you look at what was Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, what did they all look like in 2020? They were all very individual, right?
Yeah.
But what do they all look like in 2025? They all look like TikTok. And so the first thing people have to go is like, wait a minute. All the competitors of TikTok have changed their entire platforms to look like and match what TikTok is doing. And it's not just because they want to, they spent billions to do it. It's because they have to, because they realize what's happening. And so TikTok has officially changed every single platform just by existing. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, the way the TikTok algorithm serves you content is they learn you really fast, right? So
Hmm.
if you come on TikTok and you spend 15 minutes and you watch, well, probably like 7 or 8 minutes, and you watch two videos about the Diddy trial, now they know we can give you more stuff about Diddy. Right. But then
Yeah.
they're also going like, let me give her this video about makeup. Oh, nope, she's not interested in that. Okay. Let me give her this video about cats. Oop, she likes that. So they learn you so fast and know how to put all the right things in the feed for you to be on the platform. And so, as business people, that's important because if we are creating content around jewelry or around makeup or health and wellness, then if we're consistently creating content around a particular subject matter, TikTok starts to learn, okay, this is what Becky creates content around. And they're looking for who likes content for this. And they're going to constantly serve your content to the right people in such a sophisticated way that all the other platforms are not doing. Now, YouTube does a good job with this with the long form content, but we're talking
Okay.
about short content. So it's serving up people more of what they're looking for the fastest in a way that nobody's doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. When you think of, I'm thinking about now, like, what do I see when I open TikTok? Like, oh
Exactly.
yeah, my friend sent me 5 videos on the national parks beef, and now all of a sudden, all I'm seeing is national parks, and I'm like, oh, hold
Yeah.
on, like, I don't really care that much about that, but that's
Right.
what keeps getting infused into my feed, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so different than other platforms, more sophisticated in the way information and videos are getting served up to you. We need to be on TikTok.
Hmm.
And for beginners that are listening right now, thinking, okay, maybe this is the nudge I need to like finally move my way over there. I've built a presence on Facebook, I've built on Instagram, maybe I've dabbled on YouTube or LinkedIn, but okay, here I come. What is your best advice or tips for somebody that is just getting started with video marketing, creating short form video, maybe feeling a little bit like, oh, I just don't know if this is for me, or I'm gonna look silly, or
Yeah.
like, all the things that run through your head when you're doing something new.
For sure. So one of the first things I have every single person that work with me, I say, well, first come to the platform and don't watch the content that that you get entertained by, right? Go to the
Uh-huh.
For You page, which is the page where TikTok sends you content that they think you're interested in. But click on the little magnifying glass in the upper right hand corner and then go and
Okay.
search one or two words in your niche. Go search what it is that you create content about, your business is about. Then watch the next 15 videos that are served up on that search feed. That's
Yeah.
going to start to give you a blueprint of this is the content that is working for what it is that I do. Well, here's what I sell. Here's the content that's working extremely well for what I sell. Because the top videos you're going to see are going to be the top ones that have the most engagement, the most views, the most everything. Because most people, when they come to TikTok, they think they've got to be whatever they think they need to be because whatever videos they saw off the platform, and they
Yeah.
don't really realize how they should actually create content. So you got to start training your brain on what it looks like to create content for you to your
Mhm.
audience, right? And
Yeah.
then the second thing, when people are starting to create content, because we know people are using Instagram or Facebook, we tell people don't create your main content on TikTok, right? Just
Mhm.
like when I teach people on Instagram, don't make your main content on Instagram. Film it in your phone and
Yeah.
then you learn how to use the basics of the app called CapCut. Okay.
Okay.
And then do any editing in there. Now, that video that you've edited one time, now you can upload it to TikTok. Now you can upload it to
Okay.
Instagram. Now you can upload it to Facebook. Because if you do it in any other platform, all the platforms know that that video wasn't made there if it was on a social media platform, and your views get suppressed, right?
Okay.
So if you're going
Yep.
to learn any features, I would say don't go to the TikTok features first. Go to CapCut and go, okay,
Okay.
how do I upload in CapCut? How do I add text here? How do I do that? And then take that raw file and then you can say, okay, let me put it in TikTok. And then you can start playing with some basic buttons, but you don't want to start there because there's so many features on TikTok.
That is really excellent advice because how many times have you opened a new app, especially like video editing is complex and we've been able to reduce it to something you can do on your phone and you don't need super crazy fancy software for, but it can be really overwhelming. Like I'm going to
Oh,
trim a
yes.
video, I'm going to add trending audio, I'm going to add a sticker, I'm going to do all these things and that's super overwhelming. Okay, so CapCut is a great
Hmm.
tool to create
Yeah.
that content. You're saving it to your phone. And then when you're uploading it on the various platforms, you're still adding the trending audio within those
Yeah.
platforms, then,
100%.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You're
Okay.
adding all
All
the other
right.
features once you get there, but you're not doing all that editing everywhere. And
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah.
bringing, because if you do a reel and you bring a reel to TikTok, TikTok knows that was a reel, even without the watermark. And that content gets suppressed so down. And because I've been teaching it so long, I'm like, okay, like, don't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Lesson learned over here. I have some work to do too. I'm all
I
about
get it.
repurposing my content, but I'm like,
Me
oh, I gotta
too.
save it before because I do a lot of my editing within Instagram because that's where my comfort zone is. That's where I like to
Right.
hang out. And so then I'm downloading it from there. But I
Hmm.
hear what you're saying, that they know.
Hmm.
They know
Oh
all the
yeah.
things.
It's very sensitive. It knows very, yeah. I had one video I did on Reels one time. I said, let me test this. It
Yeah.
took me 2 hours to get to 200 views, but then I refilmed it in my phone, edited it in CapCut, and put it on TikTok, 1,000 views in an hour.
What? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. You heard it here first. I love it.
Yep.
All right. So, what mistakes are you seeing people making on TikTok in their short form videos? We already kind of talked about where you're sharing it from or
Mhm.
where you're creating that initial content from. But any other mistakes that you're like, oh, if people just did this, they would see
Yeah.
such a bigger lift in their reach or their connections, all those things.
Yeah, so it's always two things. The first thing is that they think that because they're on TikTok that they have to be different, that they have to be this goofy something, they have to act younger, but no, you get to act like exactly who you are, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to reach somebody who's in their 30s or 40s or 50s, you have to still reach them by being who you are. Like,
Yeah.
if you're on LinkedIn, LinkedIn wants your 9 to 5 personality, how you're supposed to be at work or whatever. But the rest of social media, including TikTok, wants your 501 personality. Who are you when you leave work? Right.
Uh-huh.
But
I love that.
but you don't need to go and act like a child, like the kids. You don't need to go and dance or be goofy, but you got to
Yeah.
allow yourself to be like, okay, people are here to be entertained. Let me give myself permission to like pull my hair down a little bit, right? That's the first thing.
Hmm.
But then the
Hmm.
second thing is that this is not just TikTok, this is all video, that you only have 2 seconds to get people's attention. Two.
Yeah. No
Okay. Like if
pressure.
If you look at the back end of your analytics on TikTok, it's going to tell you here's how many people left after 2 seconds, right? That's why you see all these strategists talking about hooks. And hooks are
Mhm.
basically what's the pattern interrupt? As soon as someone lands on you, what makes them stop and watch you? If nothing, they're scrolling away. Right. So you've got that first 2 seconds. You don't want to introduce yourself. You don't want that to be where you breathe. Like they have this thing, the kids call it the millennial pause. And the millennial pause is where we go, and then we start talking. And so they go, don't do the millennial pause.
Don't do
Like,
it.
talk. Like, you can breathe when you're filming, but then when you edit
Stop
out that
it.
pause and you start right in. So that first 2 seconds is the biggest, most powerful part of your video because if they don't get past 2 seconds, the rest of it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay. I love this. All right. So we got to get the first 2 seconds, need a really good hook to kind of bring
Yeah.
people in.
Yep.
And, of course, social channels, everyone's like, oh, I want to go viral, or how do I go viral? Or how do
Yeah.
I get the most reach? I'm spending time using these tools, creating content, showing up and being,
Mhm.
as real as I can, but also entertaining people and maybe overthinking it a little bit in the process. But when we're talking metrics, I know it's easy to get caught up in the numbers. Like, I know I do
Mhm.
this. I post a reel on Instagram and I
Me
go
too.
look and I'm like, oh, okay, like 500 people saw that one. Oh, and
Yeah.
only 100 people saw that one. And 1,000 people. Oh, like.
Yeah.
And I know metrics. I know numbers aren't everything, but
Right.
I do love a good spreadsheet. I love some good analytics. So really, is the goal to go viral? Like, is that what we should be working for? Is the most impressions, the biggest reach possible? Or what really matters when you're hanging out on these channels?
Yeah, so it's definitely not virality because going viral, you're going to reach a couple things. One,
Yeah.
yes, you can make a whole lot of money real fast, right? I've seen people who went viral in 2020 who built this big business because they went viral and they haven't gone viral since. And so they've lost
It was like a
everything
fluke. Yeah.
because it was just people were at home and you had their attention for a short period of time and then they moved on to
Yeah.
something else. Also, with virality, you reach the ugly side of social media. So when you reach the right people, you also reach all the wrong people, right? And then
Yeah.
oftentimes people can't really handle when they go viral, like
Yeah.
if I went viral with one-on-one consultant, it would put me out of business because I can't do all that. Now if I went viral with my digital courses, oh, that's amazing, right?
Right.
But the number one thing that I tell people on across all social media platforms, don't focus trying to sell on social, get the leads off social, right? So one of
Mhm.
my clients, she's extremely introverted, right?
Yeah.
And she went viral. She gained 50,000 followers in 3 days and 20,000 people joined her email list. She immediately left social media, right?
Yeah.
But the beauty of that was she got 20,000 people to join her email list. So if she never makes another post, she has 20,000 people to nurture. And she
Yeah.
was like, she was so happy with that. One of my clients, she's an immigration attorney and she wanted to go viral. She didn't, but she got 100 calls to her law office in a weekend. Her company they were like, they didn't know what to do because they couldn't
Yeah.
handle the influx. But she got
Yeah.
10 paid clients and she said, I don't want to go viral. I just want the calls. I said, okay. So
Yeah.
virality is beautiful, but we want more than anything, we want the leads that we can follow up with. Because if
Yep.
you get 2 million views, that's great. But if you get zero leads, who cares about the views, right? You
Right.
want the leads that can help you go to sales.
Yeah. Okay. So, any tips on that? Because I think that's also a disconnect that people have, right? I know I need to be on social because I need to build my brand, I need to build my online presence. But taking it from just, hey, I'm entertaining people in a TikTok to I grew my email list by
Oh, yeah.
20,000 or I got 100 calls to my law firm. Any tips on making that connection to make sure that your content is like tight enough that it's going to give you those leads?
hmm So, okay. So, one of the things to know about creating content in general. Like, even if your video was trash and you've got something that I want, I'm gonna try to figure out how to get it. I'll give you an example. There's a lady, she's in a network marketing company. Can't remember the name of the company. It was probably 4 years ago. She
Uh-huh.
filmed a video and accidentally posted to TikTok. She was trying to send it to a friend. She posted it on TikTok. And she was using the product that, like, when you have bags under your eyes within two
Yeah.
minutes, because you got Botox, she posted it. Well, the video goes mega viral, 60
Yeah.
million views. The
Wow.
product sells out globally. She didn't even have a link in her bio. But people were like, how do I find
Like,
it?
how
How
do
do
I
I
find
find
it?
it? And the company was like, what is going on? And they linked it back to her. Right. And so
Yeah.
if she had a link, she would have made way more money. They paid her some, but nowhere near what she could have got paid.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that if somebody wants what you've got, they are going to try to find it. Right.
Yeah.
But of course, from our standpoint, it's important to have some type of lead capture, whether you have a
Hmm.
website that you can do it or just that Google form, that's set
Yep.
up there, you want to have that there because that your moment's going to happen. But one of the things is that if you're trying to get people to go to your link on social media, you can't say link in bio. I don't care what platform, your content gets suppressed, right? So you
Yeah.
can't say that. So you got to find creative ways to get people to that link. And it could be visit my page, visit my profile. A lot of times
Hmm.
now I'll say it's on my profile or send me a DM and I'll get the
Yep.
leads and I'll get the messages and I'll have my social media manager go in there because the social media platforms are in business. And if all we're doing is sending them off the platform, the algorithm doesn't like it. It doesn't like it when we're constantly sending people to our link. So we have to find creative
Yep.
ways to say what we're trying to say to get those leads, right? But there is a way to, like, for example, oftentimes I'll create content talking about, you need to have a hook in your video and I'll teach about hooks and you have this one and have this one. And I'll say, if all this is brand new to you, if you want our hooks, I have 175 viral hooks. And then on Instagram, I say comment hooks, and then you'll use the ManyChat chatbot.
Yep.
But on
Yep.
TikTok, I let people comment the word hooks, and then we'll have 1,000 people. And my social media manager will just go and send them a message, say, hey, it's in my
Yeah.
profile. Right.
Yeah.
And most people would say, God, it take a lot of time. I would rather have 1,000 people to respond to than no one.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great problem to have, right?
Yep. But the people who really want those hooks are like, let me see if she got it in her bio. Bam.
Yeah, they'll go poke around and find it.
Exactly.
Okay. I love that. I love that. And still using that keyword, comment this to get that. Like that's
Mhm.
still working. I'm ready for ManyChat to come to TikTok. I'm like,
So it's
I
on
saw
TikTok
the
right
like
now.
teaser
Yeah,
saying
it's
it
but it's
might be
only for
coming.
business accounts. They're like, if you have a
Okay.
creator account, which most of us do, it's
Yep.
not working for us. It's only working for business
For
accounts.
business.
So,
Okay. Okay. Hopefully
but
soon.
I just got accepted into a program for coaches,
Okay.
and they're testing this new feature called Service Plus.
Uh-huh.
And it basically means that if I'm doing a live stream, you can click this button and you can send me a DM immediately, right?
Oh,
With
I
your with
like
an email.
that.
Oh yeah. And then if you have a business account and I'm on live stream, you can do the lead form. But I'm like, nobody's doing those. We're
Yeah.
not switched to a business account. Business, they suck on TikTok.
Okay.
So they're making tweaks that we've been waiting for the longest time. And I'm in
Yeah.
the program with them. So my job is to tell them what we want. So I keep telling them, okay, I did this and we like this. I did this. So I'm having so much like pull because I've
Yeah.
been I've been with them for so long. So they're listening to me and I'm like, thank God.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love
I know.
that. Okay. Keep feeding that back to them.
I
Tell them all
know.
the things that we need.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we kind of talked a little bit already about hooks, call to actions, the type of content to create. I
Mhm.
know for many, they might be listening right now thinking like, oh, it feels really overwhelming, or like I get the concept, but like actually implementing and doing feels like a lot. So do you
Mhm.
have a simple formula that you recommend to just make that content creation process a little bit easier on people,
Mhm.
or some kind of tips or a process to help people create content faster, better, more effective, all of those things?
Yeah. So first, it's important to know that like if you're trying to create short form content, you're gonna have to practice, okay?
Yeah.
Because we're long form talkers by nature. We're not taught to talk in 15-second clips, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to practice that. So one of the first things that we have all of our clients do is they make a list about what do they know. Right?
Hmm.
Because people will say, well, I don't know what to talk about. Yes, you do. You make a list of, let's just say you sell health and wellness products. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are one of your products and what are 50 benefits to that particular product? Okay, great. Also, besides the benefits, what would your person say? What are they struggling with? And list them out that the product solves, right?
Hmm.
And so now that you got the list of what the person is struggling with, take one of those little things that person said, and you got
Yeah.
to practice in a mirror telling this to your best friend about they're struggling with X and they need this, and here is how this product is going to help them, right?
I love
So
that.
it's the problem, it's the solution, and then it's the offer, right?
Hmm.
And you want to practice on getting that out in 15 seconds. Granted, You can do up to 10 minutes on TikTok right now, but
Yeah.
you're trying to learn the art of short video marketing, right? Like,
Right.
for example, let's just say I sold a water bottle. All right.
Yep.
And the problem that you have is that you need something to hold on to when you're walking up, your hikes. I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
she likes to go on hikes. She wants a water bottle, but she wants something she can tote around, right?
Yep.
So her problem is her water bottle only has a handle and she needs a solution, and I have the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'll start my video off with something like, don't you hate going on hikes and your water bottle is too big? You'll have nothing to be able to hold it. I completely understand that because when I go on walks sometimes or I go to the gym, it's really, really hard to put it somewhere. But we have this amazing water bottle now where you can put your finger in here, you can connect your keys on it, you can do
Yeah.
all this stuff, and it makes it so easy for you. And the person goes,
I need that. I need the water bottle. Give me the water
exactly.
bottle.
Because you connected with them and their struggle and what the solution they needed. There it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So good.
Mhm.
And what do you suggest in terms of that model? Is that like all of your content, or is that one thing a week with a mix of like personal and all the other things mixed in? I feel like that's
Yeah.
where sometimes we get hung up, especially in the network marketing and direct sales world, when all we can think about is selling that water bottle. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
We're all about our product. We love our product. We want everyone to love it as much as us. And we forget, like, we're more
Yeah.
than maybe just the water bottle. So, how do you
Correct.
suggest creating like a good mix of content that's going to keep people engaged
For
and doesn't
sure.
feel super repetitive and salesy over and over?
Yeah. So one of the things is to remember that like people don't log on to social media for us. It sounds really mean. They don't. They log on to get entertained, right?
Yep.
And so we're the commercial to their entertainment. And so if we know that, then we got to go, okay, what's going to make people watch this commercial? Well, this commercial can't be
Mhm.
boring. This commercial cannot be the same thing over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
then I say to myself, okay, what type of content am I willing to create? One, I will do talking head content where it's me speaking directly to the camera.
Sure.
Got it. I will create content where it's B-roll, where it's me, I'm talking to you on a podcast, but I'm filming myself with my phone, and I'll
Yeah.
use that role and I'll add a voiceover or text on screen or something like that. Got it.
Yep.
That's the second one. Third one, I will do a skit. Right. Like if I
Uh-huh.
see people, like there's a lot of different skits that are happening right now with TikTok. There's right now, there's one is a throat chop where you're with somebody and all of a sudden you throat chop them. Right.
Yeah.
And so you know, but there's a way to kind of use that. Like I created one the other day. I was getting a mammogram and
Uh-huh.
I was like, I'm gonna film myself while I'm changing, but before they came and got me. And I just filmed myself like looking at my boobies, but like obviously I had a robe on me. And I looked and I was like, I looked and I throat chopped. Right. And I used it to say, like, when she tells me what she's going to do with my boobs with this mammogram, and then I throat chopped them. Right.
That's too
you know,
good. That's too
but I could
good.
do the same thing when it comes to creating videos. I can say,
Yeah.
when my client tells me she's not pretty enough to do video, and I throat chop her,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But I connected it with the person who feels that they're not pretty enough. And now I'm
Yeah.
able to talk to that person more, right? So I didn't sell her anything in that video, but I just told her, you're pretty enough. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's the 501 personality. I do
Right.
teach, I can be very professional, but I also allow myself for the creativity. So sometimes you'll
Yeah.
see me rolling on the floor. You'll see me do, but that's my personality. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna
Yeah.
curse or anything, but I will stand out on the side of the street with a cardboard sign that says you can sell courses on TikTok. You, you know? And people, it's funny, it's entertaining, but you're also selling your message, you know?
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Now I need to do a throat chop.
Yeah, like it's fun. And people love it when they see it because it's not your traditional way
Yeah.
of being. Like I remember one of my
Yeah.
clients, Natalie Jill, she's in network, well, she's a coach and network marketing, all these things, very
Yeah.
famous.
Yeah.
And she was very how she was. I got a hold to
Mhm.
Natalie and her content, and that all her Instagram people were like, "Oh my God, you are so funny." And I'm like, she's not that funny, it's me, but I'll take it. She'll take it. And now she's having a blast and she
Yeah.
connects with her audience in a whole different way.
That's pretty awesome. I love that. I love that so much. Okay. I feel like we could just keep talking TikTok for days and days and days,
Yeah.
but there is an opportunity to, because Keenya, you have a 3-day
Yes.
TikTok marketing challenge coming up.
Yes.
So tell us more about it. Tell us how we can jump in and get more of this good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share. So, you guys, I haven't done this in like 2 years, but it's a 3 day challenge where I teach you one concept that day and then you go and implement it, right?
I love that.
And it's a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's 1 hour, and I teach you how to basically create great content for TikTok. Every
Yeah.
single time we do this challenge, like one of my students, she made $20,000 in 7 days from the one video. Another person made $100,000 from one video. And it's literally taking what is so complicated with TikTok, seemingly, and
Yeah.
turning it into bite-sized pieces of do this, learn this, do this, and then, you'll have success with TikTok. And so it's on June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for just
Okay.
$7.
$7. Sign me up. I'm here for it. So
Yeah, right.
good. So good. Perfect. Well, we will link to that in the show notes so everyone can get in on the challenge. And
Hmm.
what a fun way to kind of kick off summer, right? And
Yeah.
learning some new skills and putting yourself out there. So good. And just for fun, what's your favorite office supply? I ask all of my guests this question.
Oh, what is my favorite office supply? Maybe a camera. Is that an
A
office
camera?
supply?
Yeah, that counts. It totally
Yeah.
counts. It's a very
Yeah.
we go with anything. People are like a digital tool, a real tool, an office
Right.
supply. Does it have to be on my desk? Do I have to use it? We're open to all answers here.
Yeah. Either a
Camera.
camera or ink pen. I'm old school enough, but I still have to write out what I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
I have to write it out before I can type it out because I'm like, my brain can't even.
me too.
I'm like, no, I can't see it. I can't see it.
With
Like,
all the sophisticated tools that we use in our business, I'm still like, give me a paper and a pencil so I can
yeah.
just write
The
down a
brain is
couple of
like, I
things.
want what it wants, like.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So good. Well, this was incredible. Where do we follow you? Where do we find you?
So I'm on all social media platforms under my name, Keenya Kelly, KeenyaKelly. So Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, everywhere except Twitter.
Except Twitter. I love it.
Like,
Thank you, Keenya. This was incredible. I
no.
have learned so much just in our short conversation. Super excited for the challenge. Thank you for taking time to be here on the podcast with us. I
Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
you.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye. This episode is sponsored by CinchShare. CinchShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CinchShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CinchShare.